we have to start today's sessions.
Right.
I am starting. So people are joining us right now. I think few people are already joined. So
Okay.
hello everyone. I'm Vishal Bis. I'm the founder of TURNSKILL, and today I am once again starting our TURNSKILL live weekly session. And the TURNSKILL is basically the AI-driven platform where we are providing the best courses, and uh, mentors, and coaches on a single platform. And TURNSKILL, we have started a initiative for the students where we are providing them the solutions and the real-time problems facing issues on the weekly basis. So today we are taking a subject and a topic for how we go beyond our resume. And today our guest is Mr. Varda Murthy. He is basically from the Bengaluru, and he has a decade experience, and he is mainly for the life coach, and he have worked so many corporates. So today he will explain you what exactly the resume affect in your career, and how can you build the best resume to get the best job in your career. So the structure of the program is like that. That initially we have discussed with Mr. Murthy, and we will discuss about few points. And at the end of the session, we will take the questions from our audience. And this is the live sessions, and this is the recorded. After that, if anyone can miss the sessions, they can ask the questions after the sessions also. They can reach us anytime. So once again, welcome Mr. Murthy. So we are starting the today's session. First of all, I want to know more about you, because I think our audience wants to know about Mr. Murthy. Who is Mr. Murthy, and how he will help them today's session?
Sure. Good evening, Vishal. Thank you for the introduction, and good evening to all the participants who are there. Well, my name is Varada Murthy. You can call me Varada. I'm a leadership and life coach, as Mr. Vishal mentioned. I work with institutions. I work with youth. I work with budding entrepreneurs. I also work with the teaching community, helping them mainly empowering skills, helping them with leadership skills. And youth, we have a different programs at different levels, from schools to colleges to PG. So we work with them closely. I've been working with the student community for the last 11 plus years now. Otherwise, before I started People First Leadership Academy in Bangalore and the VMLC, VM Leadership Coaching, I used to head human resources, for a large multinational company in the Middle East, which is in Dubai. I worked there for almost 12 years. So prior to that, I started my career, of course, in Bangalore, and that's my hometown. So right now, with the academy, we work with institutions to help them. We work with the corporate SMEs and young budding entrepreneurs, helping them with the leadership coach. And my passion is to work with, of course, the youth and the students to help them develop skills, because I personally believe that they have huge potential. Not just everyone has huge potential, but most of the times people wouldn't know what their potential is. So I'm trying to help them to tap that potential and unleash their true potential, and that's my passion. Any day you call me, I'm there for that youth to work with. Okay. That's briefly about me, Vishal.
Thanks, Varda. So now I am start for the today's session. How we go beyond resume. So my first question is basically the pointers which I have seen that here is discover yourself. So when you say discover yourself, do you mean it's self-awareness? Could you please explain a little more about this, and why is it so important for us?
Sure. Yeah. As you rightly said, just discovering yourself is a self-discovery. It's about self. It's about self-awareness, knowing more about self, and that's something that everyone must know. I will start with a quote as, you probably would have heard, and of course the audience also. Mastering others is strength. When you say mastering others is strength, mastering yourself is true power, right? So mastering others is strength, while mastering yourself is true power. So that is the next level. Likewise, there is a quote says, he or she who knows about others is called intelligent, and he or she who knows about themselves, more about themselves, is called wise. So why do you need to be wise? Then is intelligent more important or being wise more important? I'm sure everyone agrees that being wise is more important, because when you're wise, what happens? You will be able to take better decisions, right? So everything depends on, for a student, for example. So because our focus today is students, and for them it is important that the decision that they take today matters for tomorrow, right? So it's most important that they understand themselves first before they move into understanding others and other things, right? So
Right.
here, what do I mean by self-awareness, or what do I mean by self-discovery? Understanding themselves with, at least write down three core strengths of yours and say three areas that you need to improve yourself. So what happens with that? You work on those three areas that you need to improve over a period of time. So what happens? Those three areas of improvement can become your core strengths, adding to your strengths. Then after 3 months or after 6 months, say I would suggest that everybody should work on this at least twice a year, particularly the younger lot who are getting into the corporate world to work on themselves. So over a period of time, if they continuously do this, I'm telling you, with my experience, they will have an amazing journey of self-discovery and of course the progression. Because the more you understand, the more wiser you become. The more wiser you become, the better decisions you take. At the end of the day, what matters is the choices that you make and the decisions that you take. And that's about self-discovery, in a nutshell.
Okay. So, who is very famous here? I mean, like, it's look like an interesting question. What exactly you
Yeah.
mean for Varda?
Who is very famous? Well, obviously, this is about the youth. When they getting into the corporate world, the very first thing that anybody would ask them is to talk about themselves, right? Okay, so talk about yourself. So when you ask them to talk about themselves, what is that they can explain? It's not about my name or my father's name, my mother's name. No, beyond that, go beyond resume. As you see, the topic itself is go beyond your resume. So when you say that you go beyond your resume, what happens? How do you want yourself to be described as? Be it in your locality, in your community, or when you get out of that community, then go to a college, or say from college you get into the corporate world. How do you want yourself to be recognized as? How do you want yourself to be described yourself as? So if I ask you, okay, talk about yourself, what is that you would talk? You would talk about yourself, your what that, you are unique about. It's not that your qualification, that is all there in the resume, right? So you write about yourself, you write about your personal, a few personal things, and then about your academic accomplishments there. But beyond that, what are you? And that's
Right.
exactly what do I mean by that. So that is something that you need to work on. The projects that you handle, perhaps the various your additional or beyond academic skills, co-curricular activities that you are involved in. Maybe you're good at sport. Say for example, I take some name randomly, some name, say Rahul. So what do I call Rahul as? Rahul is genius, Rahul is a great mathematician, or Rahul is a great hockey player, or a cricket player, or a football player, or a basket player, or Rahul is a technocrat, or techno-savvy, tech-savvy guy, or Rahul is an excellent communicator, Rahul is an organized person. So Rahul has many skills. So how do you want yourself to be recognized as? And that's what I mean here.
Okay. 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 So, what is your USP mainly?
Exactly, it goes with the same question. What is your USP? What are you specialized in? So, for example, now I bring some unique skills to the table. What are those skills that you bring to the table? So, everybody, for example, people, who are there. There are technical people who are looking for technical jobs, and there are others who are looking for many different fields. Today, if you take just an example, sport, for example, IPL. In IPL itself, there are about 700 careers. Can you imagine? And people just look at few career options there. Okay, I want to go for engineering, I want to go for medical, or say CA, or human resources, or sales and marketing. So 4, 5, 6, and they just say, oh, well, one of that 13 issues. No, this was during our time, but today they have plethora of options to choose from. I mean, that's humongous. And most of the times today, what they need is the guidance to choose the right one, which is the right one to pick. So that is one of the reasons why these career guidance or career coaching is needed for the students, because they have so many choices, they're confused as to which one to take. Right? So USP is all about their speciality. What is that you as an individual bring that unique skills to the table? If I want to hire you, you need to sell yourself to me. So if I want to hire you, how do you sell yourself to me? What are those skills that you have? Maybe I would say, when I say go beyond resume, that the projects that you have worked on, not just in MBA or in engineering, but beyond that, any project that you can take. People say, okay, I want to pursue my passion. So passion, I born developed as you start working, and with the work, with you as you progress, you develop passion. So while working, say particularly for freshers, when they're working, they probably wouldn't have figured out the passion yet. So while working, you take up small projects, like 2 months project, 3 months project. So do several such projects in your free time. What happens? That gives you an indication as to, wow, this is amazing. So I'm interested in this. Probably I would do much better if I take this. So that's how you develop passion. So when I talk about USP, you can do research beyond what is given by the college. So you can do. I quote an example. When I used to visit one of the colleges in Bangalore, MBA colleges, one of the guys whose communication was not great. So he was hired by a company for the simple reason. Many people started wondering, wow, how come that guy was hired for say 8 lakhs? This is not a tier one MBA institute. It's a tier 2 or 3, I would say. So when they hired, everybody else was actually wondering how they hired this guy for 8 lakhs. I'll tell you a simple case. When they did the research to find out what happened, this guy has an average communication, right? But what he did was he did couple of researches, right? One of the researches that he was doing, what he did was he used to go out on the road, particularly where you have high traffic roads, and observe and write down certain things. I think over a period of 3 months, he did this in many places in Bangalore. He did that research, you put that research through somebody, you're taking help from someone, and he went and submitted the research report when he went for an interview. Obviously, when they interviewed him, they really didn't, get impressed with him because of his communication skills. So they put him on a hold, and then when they went through the research, they found it very interesting. They found it, wow, this is very nice research. How did this guy do that? Because when he is not able to communicate, then they called him again, and they also called the college and find out how did this guy do this. So he then revealed that, well, he agreed that, okay, I don't know communication because I've come from a remote place and I wanted to do MBA, but one of the lecturers or one of like people like us who went there to address them would have told him, okay, do research, do projects, write blogs or small books, start speaking to people, all these things. So he took that seriously. He did that research. He took help from someone to put together that in a nice way, and he presented that. Because see, it doesn't matter who is. It was his idea. So they really appreciated that. Okay, it's a fantastic idea. This is going to help as well, because there are a lot of findings in this about the traffic, about the congestion, about the vehicles. So it's a fantastic job. You would like to hire you, and that's how you got a job. So that's what I would tell these youngsters to find out their USP. Unless it's not about just reading some books that is given to you and score marks and get the certificate and say I got an MBA. So you need to develop skills, and particularly the unique skills that is required for you to perform the job, and also of course to be able to hire and to be able to be employable. Yeah.
So, Varda, my next question is mainly for the personal branding. So, what represent the personal branding is the today's word. So, for example, today's youth are not interested so much on the Instagram and Facebook. They are right now the today's youth from the college and university. They understand the importance of the networking and the professional sites like LinkedIn. They are starting their personal profile there. So I just want to know what about the personal branding for a youth for a today's time.
Yeah. So personal branding, of course, today the buzzword is branding, buzzword is personal branding. I know branding is required for the companies and branding is required for every individual too. And that's what, people
Okay.
look at. So how can they develop their branding? Create, as you said, Instagram, Facebook, social media is of course one. But what they do in social media matters. It's not just, okay, you be present in the social media and chat with someone. No, it's not just that. What posts that you are putting there, and what who the kind of people that you follow, and what posts that you see, view, and then comment there. All that matters, right? What is the value that you're adding for a discussion, for example, that is happening in social media? In any platform, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Instagram or FB or any other such platform, right? Open platforms. Then the other thing that you can do is that you can create your mission statement. What is that your mission statement? And of course, the broader vision, that your vision also. So those are other things that helps someone to build a brand along with doing those projects. There are three things that I have to list down here. I've written down here. That's something that possibly that works very well with them when to create a branding. One is create your vision. So that is something that what do I want to, who do I want to impact? One, who am I? I mean, that is the self-discovery. So it starts from there now. Point one, and the series of questions that you've asked, one, two, three. So this also goes back there. It starts from self-discovery, then you move from there to the next one, and then who I want to be. What do I want to be recognized as, identified as? How do you want yourself to be described? All these things add to the personal branding. And then top three dreams. They can write down top three dreams that they want to achieve. And of course, in their profile also, they can mention that what is that they can do the company. It's not just that, okay, I want a great job, this is what my dream is, but at the same time, what is the value that I can add to the company also matters, right?
Okay.
And then discovering yourself, three strengths, as I said earlier, three strengths, area of improvement, and of course, the mission statement, who you are, and that is very important to build a brand. Extremely important that you should know about yourself, who you are, to build a good brand, right?
Okay. Okay. So my next question is mainly for the job and placement. So job and placement. Mainly, I
Yeah.
want to know that how to face the job and placement uh, and using through the best resume, of course.
Okay. See, but the job, it depends on what kind of job that they are applying. If they are, there could be technical jobs and there could be non-technical jobs. So if they are, it all depends on, in the CV, in the resume that they are mentioning. So when you are putting together your resume, that you are mentioning your skills. So highlight before going to the interview. I'm talking. I mean, this is the preparation, because there are three things here that any individual should, have. PPE. Now, your interview is something that you are executing, right? So before execution, the other two P's come. One is planning and another one is preparation. So
Right.
you plan, you prepare, and then you execute, right? So before execution, you plan and prepare. Now, planning is done. Perhaps your education is one of those things that you start planning, and after planning, then you prepare yourself for the interview. Now, how do you prepare yourself? Put together a CV. That's the number one thing. Now, when you are actually putting together your resume, I prefer that for a fresher, it's preferably one-page CV or one and a half page. One-page CV is ideally the right way to go for freshers, because the interviewers or hiring managers will not have patience to go through pages together of CVs, for entry-level jobs. So obviously they are looking at which is, a CV which has the information which catches their attention, right? So obviously you can start with Writing down your, I mean, I would say, people ask me, is it mandatory to write, or is it important to write objective? Objective, yes, if you write objective, it is important, like, you mentioning your ambition and what is that unique skills that you bring in and how you can add value to the company. But for freshers, it's not so important. But more than that, what you can write down is in your CV, you write down your qualifications, your projects that you have done, any extracurricular activity that perhaps you are good in sport and you have participated in that, or any project that you have taken, any additional certifications that you have done, those definitely add a lot of values. Any internship that you have done, you mentioned that there. So, and of course, unique skills and hobbies that you have. If you are passionate about something beyond your work, say for example, you love music or you love sport, all those things can be captured nicely in a CV, which is presentable. And also, when you're preparing a CV, you got to ensure that fact check, spell check, and those are very extremely important. So before you go, ensure all that is taken care of. So once you present your CV, what matters is your confidence. Now, how do you face the interview? Number one, planning and preparation, which is done, planning and preparation. In the preparation, all your skills that matter, communication skills that matter, that is most important today, right? Apart from other skills, communication skills also matter. Effective communication skills is what I say, not just a communication, because you need to connect with people. To connect with people, you need to be effective there, right? So that is important. So being confident at the interview is extremely important. Many a times people are hired for the confidence that they show. Now, apart from confidence, there are certain skills that people are looking at, or also like, of course, grooming and all those are required. And today's youth know all those things. You don't need to talk on that. But one needs to be dynamic, one needs to be excited, and of course, energetic, because these are very important. People look at, when they're hiring, how energetic he or she is, how dynamic he or she is, unless it is technical job where purely technical job where you're sitting in front of the PC and talking, to PC. All other jobs where it requires that you need to communicate with people, coordinate, and that requires all these, the core traits in individuals. So those are important. Being confident is the number one thing. Now, how can somebody be confident? When you develop knowledge, when you develop skills, you will be more, confident. So that's the bottom line, right? And that's the reason I said that everything starts with the self-discovery. The more you understand yourself, the more wiser you become, the more confident you become. When you're more confident, and that's it, you go there, you will face it.
Definitely, definitely. So, is it any kind of structures or components when we write a resume? Should we use such any kind of structuring and components and parts of this resume means such kind some kind of structures?
The
Should we
structure,
use?
yeah, I mean, I've already addressed that in the previous question.
Right,
So
right,
the way to go about is, you write down your name. I mean, in the CV, you capture your
right, right.
personal details, and then write an objective, preferably. But objective is not a must for a fresher. Preferably good if you are, if you have a clarity, then you can write objective. If you don't have a clarity, because, and also it's very important that if you take assistance from someone else to write CV,
Right, right.
it is better that you talk to them about what is that you, because you are representing, your CV represents you. I have cases where people come with the same CV, three people come with the same CV. We later figure out that it's done by someone else, and they do one CV, cut paste, and give it to all. But that's not good, right? So it's good
Right,
to
right.
take help from someone else to prepare a CV, but it should be you there. It's your skills, your qualifications, and whatever that you are talking in front, because there they don't look at the CV itself, right? They ask you to talk. So if you don't, and if that is not matching what you have written in the CV, they will easily figure out within no seconds that it's not something that you have
Definitely.
written. So the other structures are personal details, and then your qualifications, and then like extracurricular activities, additional certifications that you have, and references maybe, and references can be given upon request also. Contact details, but mainly fact check, spell check are important. Grammatically,
Okay.
you should see any errors. Those are simple
So,
format.
so is there any kind of tips, any tips we can if I ask you that, can you give some kind of tips to write the best resume? So what are these tips? Means few things which is definitely point out and figure out into the CV. Means we have to present on our CV. What are these things you have?
Yeah, I have already addressed most of the things that I've discussed here. They can capture that in the CV, right? So I don't think I've left anything. But
Okay,
again,
definitely.
you are representing yourself there. So you be be truthful to yourself and present your uniqueness there. And that's exactly what you need to. And of course, developing skills, because before the CV you present, you need to have the skills. Apart from your degree, you need to have skills. So for that, you
Okay.
need to work, right? The developing skills is absolute must today. You need to develop skills that for the job, that whatever that job that you are applying, develop those essential skills that you need, and you capture that in the CV. Because many a times, many I have seen that a lot of people ignore, preparing a better CV. So they write something there, probably very few lines about their qualification, and then few things about one or two things about their personal thing, like numbers, contact numbers, and all those things, email ID. And many a time they would have done many projects, and that is not shown there. Somebody might be a leader. They would have displayed that in the college. They have represented in many drama, theatrical, or any other such activities in the college. But that is not displayed in the CV. What matters is, hiring manager will also look at all those things as to what are you as a person, right? Many a time that goes, it may not be required for a job today, but they also look at how we can, shape his career. Many good organizations who have best practices, they do check all these things, and many of them also do psychometric testing. And psychometric testing is not done just to select for that particular job. That is just to assess that person. Where can we put him? If he say continue here for another 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. So where will he be? Perhaps it's an indicator. So likewise in the CV, whatever skills that you have, additional qualifications, certifications, skills that you have, your uniqueness, you're confident about something, all those things to be captured in the CV, and that is preferably good.
So, Varda, my last question for the today's session is that what other skills you can suggest for a person, for a mainly for a freshers, and for a means for a few year experience for any stream, like any graduate, so that they can get hired. Basically, what kind of skills they must have to in their CV. For a engineering graduate, for a management graduate, or any simple graduate. So, what kind
Okay.
of skills for the today's world that must has to be required, so that he or she get hired easily in the initial
Sure.
year base. Mainly, I am talking right now for mainly for the freshers who are just pass out from the college.
Yes. Yes. So in my experience, apart from technical skills, apart from the whatever the profile requires for them to fulfill the job, additional skills, most important skills that today that are required for their life, in fact, not just to get an entry into the job, but then even to progress to next level, are some of them are number one stands is. Which tops the list perhaps is critical thinking and decision making, and that is very important, which very critical today. Critical thinking and decision making, and then of course you have teamwork and values comes there, and time management is there, right? Then decision making, I mentioned communication skills, effective communication skills, because that
Okay.
is the thing that is required. I wouldn't say just communication skills, effective communication skills, because communication everybody does. Very few can connect. Connecting is important, so that's important. And then of course, they also look at resilience advantage. Now, for example, there is a setback in life, or there's some disappointment. If they fail, so that is called resilience advantage, and that is another great skill that they need to develop with themselves. Creativity, of course, is also one of the key skills that they need to have. critical thinking, decision making, problem solving are really, really the important skills. I mean, all these things, communication skills, team building, time management, values, all are part of soft skills. So, in one word,
Soft,
if you ask me, I would say soft skills, and that is extremely
soft
important.
skill.
Yes.
Obviously. Okay, okay. So I think I just check it out that if someone have any questions, I don't think so. Anyway,
Yeah.
Varda, I think if anyone has questions, they can ask us later after the session. They can ask.
Sure.
So I am now closing today's sessions, and once
Right.
again, thank you very much for today's sessions. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending our Turn Scale Live for today's sessions. And if you have any questions and you want to reach us directly, you can just go to the bio sections and reach us and join our disk community where you can ask us question anytime. So once again, thank you, Varda, and it's really
Pleasure.
very interesting session, and it's really very learning for all of us. And once again, thank you. Okay,
Cheers.
bye bye.
All the best to all of them.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Bye.